So hey goofballs, I just got done analyzing and reviewing the Sennheiser HD505, aka the copper colored Sennheiser HD560. So just looking at my analysis, this is the advertised frequency response that they, I guess, provided. And they're comparing it to the HD599 SE. So if we go over here, this is the 505, and let's bring in the 599 that they compared it to. We could see they measure about the same, okay? But there's some differences. The 599 in the upper mids is below the target. It's also very warm and muddy bass bloat on the 599, but it has more powerful bass, but it's just really bloated and it bleeds into the mids. So we can see the new HD 505 tames that bass bloat and fixes the upper mids, but it still has this huge 5.5K peak fatigue. It still has this huge treble veil. It still has the weak sub bass extension. So we're getting the stereotypical Sennheiser sound where it's nothing but mids. Not that good at the bass, not that good at the treble. It's mainly just all mids with some 5K peak fatigue. But when I was looking at this, I was like, haven't they already done this before? And I was like, oh yeah, they came out with the 560S. So if we take off the 599s and bring in the 560S, these headphones probably a lot cheaper, $100 cheaper, are the same exact thing. In fact, the 560S has better deep bass extension. It does have a little bit of a hole here, but not that much in the upper mids. But it has the same exact treble, same exact, mid bass, low mids. It's basically the same thing. It's basically the same headphone. The 505 and the 560S. Basically the same damn headphone. So if you already have the 560S, you already have the new 505. Unless you want it in copper, unless you want this headphone in copper, you should probably not get it. So if you already have this headphone, then you don't need this headphone. It's the same thing, it's just in copper. Okay. Now again, Sennheiser has all the same sound. Sennheiser house sound, they all measure about the same. Like I said in my other video, Sennheiser 500, 600 series, it measures, no matter which one you get, it's going to have the weak, rolled off deep bass. It's going to have the mids, the 5K peak fatigue, the treble veil. So, we're lacking this treble clarity. We've got some grainy treble spikes coming out from the depth. So it's kind of dark and grainy, no treble information, just some grit. Unless you get some dampened ones that dampen those treble spikes like the HD 650s. But, some of them have varying degrees of bass extension. It's all the same thing though. What you want to get is something that has better bass, better treble. And that's the reason why I use the Biodynamic DT990s, as we can see here. The Biodynamic DT990s have some of the in red here and with worn ear pads have a bright open clear sound, and they have some of the best deep bass for an open back headphone. So the DT990 250 ohm with worn ear pads have the same glorious mids that everybody glamorizes on Sennheiser headphones, but it has better treble extension, clarity, detail, musicality, sparkle, and some of the best deep bass you're going to get on an open back headphone. So if you want to buy something new that's brighter and clearer without the Sennheiser veil, something that has some of the strongest bass of any open back, and still amazing mids with a wide sound stage, that ear gain scoop around 3K, then get some Biodynamic DT990s. Again, we could see it on other people's measurements as well. Get the DT990s. And we can see that they've got some better bass and trebles. So as we can see here, the biodynamic DT990s in green have more treble clarity, better deep bass emphasis here, and the same glorious mid-range. Okay, so unless you want a bunch of holes in your treble that sounds veiled, low detailed, like a pillow, imagine a really cheap speaker. You know, most speaker studio monitors, they have a tweeter and a woofer. Imagine a small woofer and no tweeter. That's what the Sennheiser house sound sounds like. Imagine having, let's go back to my measurements. Imagine having, you know, no treble, weak bass. Okay, so that's like a small woofer, no tweeter. Now imagine the woofer is bigger with a tweeter. Now all of a sudden you have treble with the DT990s, and you have a little bit bigger woofer, so you get more bass. So if you want a bigger woofer, a tweeter, you get this DT990s. If you want just a small little woofer that can't really play back treble clarity, that can't really reach very deep in the bass, it's kind of just a mid-rangey, cheap sounding speaker without any treble clarity or detail. And you know, some people say they like that. It's like listening to music from behind a closed door or putting a blanket over the speaker. It just sounds muffled and woolly and veiled. Some people think that sounds smooth and pleasing, and really they just can't hear anything. So it depends on what you want. Instead of buying the same headphone over and over again, if you're a Sennheiser fan, just get the DT990s. Wear them for a few months, because again, when you first get the DT990s with fresh ear pads, they're a bit spiky in the treble. So with fresh ear pads, the DT990s are a bit spiky. They got these treble spikes. But as they wear in, after a few months, they smooth out. So I'll see you guys later. You should probably just go out and buy the Sennheiser HD560S, because it's the same thing and probably like $100 cheaper. These companies are just ripping people off. Or you should get some biodynamic DT990s and actually have a tweeter that actually have headphones that image like studio monitors instead of some flavor of a lo-fi, warm, gooey headphone. Or you could just buy a cheap speaker, a little tiny little Logitech speaker instead of a Neumann studio monitor. I don't know. I'll see you guys later.